Ladies and gentlemen, education is not a destination. It is a discipline practiced every single day. It's not something you achieve once, hang on the wall, and walk away from. It's not confined to classrooms, diplomas, or ceremonies. It's a way of life. It's a mindset. The moment you begin to treat education as a one-time event, you begin to limit your growth. Because life doesn't reward what you used to know. It rewards those who keep learning, adapting, evolving. We live in a world that's changing faster than ever before. What was true yesterday might be irrelevant today. Technologies evolve, industries transform, and the skills that once made you valuable could be outdated in a matter of months. That's why daily education isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity. It's the fuel that keeps you sharp, keeps you ready, and keeps you in demand. Discipline means doing something even when you don't feel like it. And let's be honest. There are days when learning feels like a chore. Days when your mind is tired. When distractions are louder than your goals. But this is where the power of daily education reveals itself. Because the days you learn, even when it's hard, those are the days you grow the most. That's where your mindset shifts from comfort to commitment. You start to realize that education isn't always about consuming massive amounts of information. Sometimes it's about small, consistent deposits into your mental bank account. Read one page, watch one video, take one note, have one insightful conversation. One seed planted every day will eventually grow into a forest of understanding. That's the power of discipline. It compounds. And what seems like small efforts today will become the foundation for wisdom, clarity, and advantage tomorrow. People often look for motivation to learn, but motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. It's the daily choice to say, I may not know it all, but I refuse to stay where I am. That choice, repeated daily, separates those who rise from those who remain. It separates leaders from followers, creators from consumers, visionaries. It's easy to envy someone else's success, but what you don't see are the silent mornings and late nights when that person chose to study, to reflect, to grow. It wasn't a single breakthrough moment. It was hundreds of days of daily discipline. If you want to get there, wherever there is for you, it won't happen by accident. It happens by habit. And the most powerful habit you can develop is to educate yourself every single day. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. You'll miss a day. You'll forget sometimes. That's okay. But don't let that stop you. Come back the next day and start again. Because the discipline of daily education isn't about being flawless. It's about being relentless. You want to change your life, change what you learn. Change how often you learn. The people you admire, the ones who seem to always have the answers, the edge, the insight, they didn't stumble into it. They trained for it. Quietly, consistently, daily. So never confuse education with a certificate. Education is not a moment, it's a movement. It's not a finish line, it's a lifestyle. And the ones who embrace it every day will never stop growing, never stop rising, and never stop becoming the enemy. Because education is not a destination, it's a daily discipline. And the moment you truly understand that, you become unstoppable. What you know today may not be enough for tomorrow. That's not a discouragement, it's a wake-up call. Because knowledge is like food. It nourishes, but it also gets used up. You can't survive tomorrow on yesterday's meal. In the same way, you can't thrive in the future relying solely on what you learned in the past. The world is shifting too fast. And standing still is the same as falling behind. Think about it. The phone in your pocket gets updated every few weeks. Apps are refreshed, features are upgraded, systems are patched. Now imagine if you never updated it. It would slow down, malfunction, maybe even stop working. The same principle applies to your mind. If you're not updating what you know, if you're not growing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you risk becoming stuck in an outdated version of yourself. And that's the ultimate power, choice. You're no longer reacting to life. You're responding with wisdom. You're not waiting for opportunities to come. You're developing the skills to create them. That's how you take control of your destiny. So never underestimate the power of what you learn on your own time. That quiet hour with a book, that podcast that challenged your thinking, that note you took during a conversation. These moments of self-education are not random. They're the bricks you're using to build the life you were meant to live. Remember, your future isn't written in stone. It's written in your habits. And if you make self-education one of them, then your destiny is not just in sight. It's in your hands. Confidence isn't magic. It's not something you're born with. And it's not some rare quality only a few people possess. Confidence is built. And one of the most powerful ways to build it is through consistency in learning. When you educate yourself every single day, even in small doses, you begin to change not just what you know, but how you see yourself. And that shift, that's where real confidence is born. Consistency is the difference between dabbling and developing. It's what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. You don't become confident by waiting for the perfect moment or by hyping yourself up with empty affirmations. You become confident by putting in the reps, by showing up daily to feed your mind, stretch your thinking, and sharpen your skills. Think about it like this. Every time you learn something new, you add a layer to your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone capable, someone equipped, someone who's growing. And the more consistently you do it, the louder that inner voice gets that says, I can handle this. I've prepared for this. I've grown into this. That's what data education does. It's not about information overload. It's about building inner strength, slowly, steadily, relentlessly. Even 10 minutes of intentional learning every day will do more for your confidence than hours of empty motivation. Because it's not about hype, it's about foundation. Knowledge gives you a solid ground to stand on, and consistent knowledge builds that ground stronger with each passing day. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from knowing you're committed to keep learning what you don't yet know. That's why the most confident people are often the most humble. They're students for life. They know they're not perfect, but they also know they've put in the work. That work done daily is what gives you peace in uncertainty and clarity in chaos. When you show up for your growth every day, you start to notice something. Fear loses its grip. Doubt shrinks. You walk into rooms you used to avoid. You speak up where you once stayed silent. Not because everything suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger. And that strength didn't come from chance. It came from consistency. There's something powerful about looking back after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days of daily learning and realizing how far you've come. You remember where you started. You see how your mindset has expanded, how your vocabulary has sharpened, how your decision making has improved. That's when you realize this is working. I'm not who I was. I've grown. And I did it one day at a time. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to wait for it. You can build it starting today. Start small. Read a chapter. Watch a documentary. Study someone who's mastered what you want to learn. Reflect, apply, repeat. Make it a rhythm, a ritual, a non-negotiable part of your life. Because the more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more grounded you feel in who you are and where you're going. That's not arrogance. That's assurance. It's the quiet power that comes from knowing you've invested in yourself consistently. So if you've ever felt insecure, unsure, overwhelmed, don't wait for confidence to magically appear. Build it, earn it, cultivate it through the discipline of daily learning. Show up for yourself, one day at a time. This confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a result, and it's waiting for you on the other side of your consistency. It doesn't always look like failure in the beginning, but it always leads there eventually. The truth is, most people don't fail because they weren't talented or passionate. They fail because they didn't know what they didn't know. And what you don't know can absolutely hurt you, especially in a world that's constantly changing, constantly demanding more from those who want to lead, grow, and succeed. That's why daily education is not a luxury, it's a defense. It protects you from the blind spots that ignorance creates. There's a cost to not learning, a cost to not asking questions, a cost to thinking that what you already know is enough. The problem is, those costs often don't show up immediately. They creep in slowly, silently. An opportunity missed because you didn't recognize it. A mistake repeated because you didn't understand the pattern. A relationship damaged because you didn't learn emotional intelligence. A business idea that fails. Not because it was bad, but because you didn't educate yourself on how to manage, market, or scale it. That's ignorance-based failure. And it's avoidable. When you choose to educate yourself daily, you're not just adding knowledge, you're removing vulnerability. You're closing the gaps in your understanding before those gaps become pitfalls. You're preparing for problems before they happen. And in that preparation, you build power.